All right. Hi, everybody. It's Tara Boothby from Sojourn Psychology and Tony Zerbin from Sojourn Psychology.
It's big news. It's exciting.
It's huge news. We're super excited. Tony's on our team. We've been waiting for a long time to work together, and so we're super stoked.
Absolutely. No, this is really great. I'm excited about this because just these meetings in passing, it's so much fun to share all this stuff, but to be able to do so professionally now and more regularly. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we're really excited. And as always, Tony and I are just chatting up a storm about psychology and different thoughts or different ways of viewing change. Actually, today we're talking about what would be a way to measure or help ourselves when we're in a difficult spot. And Tony brought up this concept of the rule of 5%. So Tony, what do you notice, or how do you explain this rule of 5% thing?
Sure. Yeah. So 5%, this kind of comes back to when we're facing difficult things or even exciting things. Some of us, not all of us, but some of us can really get locked into if this would happen, everything would be better, or if this would happen, everything would be worse. And it can start feeling like an all or nothing, 100% or a 0% kind of thing. And in the midst of COVID restrictions, um, who knows what the next couple of weeks are going to look like. A lot of these fears and emotions and anxieties are coming up and saying, how do we start getting a handle on it? How do we find a way where it feels a little bit more manageable in reality? So this is where this rule or principle of 5% comes in. Part of the training that I've done so far, one of the things we talk about, and this works for any part of your life, whether it's school, whether we're dealing with trauma, whether we're dealing with anything really, is what do we need right now to move forward 5%? Or can I have just 5% deeper of a breath right now? Or the emotion I'm feeling right now, what would help me feel 5% better? Or maybe 5% more in control? Because the fact is the control or feeling good, none of these things ever happen in 100% chunks. So how do we look at life and find out the things that tangibly make life 5% better when other things aren't going great? And how do we string them together? So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I think that's so great. And it's creating space for something to be measurable and manageable.
Yeah.
And sometimes in different schools of thought, trauma or CBT or solution focus will scale things.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
one scale we were talking about is the subjective units of disturbance scale. And the question is, on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is no disturbance and 10 is the highest disturbance you can imagine, how disturbing does this incident or this emotion, this experience, this difficulty, this block feel to you now?
Hmm.
And so if a person can rate it, like with this scale, we're trying to get it down to 0.
Yeah.
However you view it though, if it's like, okay, I want to view like getting my distress down to 0, or some people prefer to view it the opposite. Doesn't
Yeah.
really matter. It's that 0.5 at a time.
Yeah. Exactly. It's
Hmm.
shifting it from all or nothing to what direction are we moving and are we seeing progress?
And all or nothing is so common. We tend to polarize. And
Hmm.
Brene Brown will say that blame is an effort to have power or to feel in control. So if I can polarize my depression, my anxiety, the trauma that happened to me, COVID-19, then I'm going to feel a false sense of control.
Hmm.
Whereas if I dive in and I notice how uncomfortable I feel, and then I rate it on the scale and I try to shift at 0.5, 5% at a time.
Exactly. Yeah. And false sense of control, in one hand, it feels amazing, but on the other hand, a false sense of control, this illusion that we have control, is a more horrible burden than any one of us can carry at any given time.
Yeah, and it doesn't work. And then we end up feeling agitated.
Yeah.
So if we can be authentic with our experience, authentic with our emotion and our thinking, and be present with ourselves. Then there's some different things. It's like one goal at a time,
Yep.
or writing a list,
Yep.
having a self-care kit, all these sorts of things that we've been talking about all year. Exercise. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of a feel-good playlist. So sometimes it's so hard to move that 5%, but what if I was listening to some good music or just one good song on repeat?
Yep. 100%. No, exactly.
Yeah, and another important one, especially right now, because isolation is the enemy of mental health. It's like, who is my person?
Exactly. Yeah. And how do I get 5% more contact with them today or this week?
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, that how do I let my people know I'm not doing well? Or I mean, I think too, you and I, Tony, we
Mhm.
really have maintained our connection over the years by really connecting 5%, if that, 2% maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
But it works, and it's been a way to there's a benefit there. There's something that's helped professionally for both of us just by taking a
100%.
small measure.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, even any kind of friendship or relationship you're in, even like with my wife, she can't help me out with 100% of the things I'm dealing with. She can help me out a lot, and she has that proximity to take a bigger percentage of sharing the burden. But this is also why we need friends and
Yes.
a couple of them. This is why we need family members. This is why we need professionals in our life, whether it's a doctor or a therapist or a teacher, because everybody carries a small percent. And together, when you put all that together, you've got approaching 100% support. Or maybe for some of us, it's finding that one person so we have 5 or 10% support rather than none.
Yes.
And we're already that much further
Exactly. And giving ourselves some grace and some credit that we are all messy people and we're in
ahead.
our own mess.
We have
And
limits.
and it's okay that, like, your wife is pretty amazing. You know, she's an awesome person. And
Absolutely.
it's okay to be like, okay, I sometimes I just need to talk to my mom or a colleague or whomever else and sort of
Absolutely.
find
Yeah.
this other space. Um, awesome. Okay. So the rule of 5%, scale it, find a little bit of freedom to shift it a tiny bit.
If something feels like 100%, we can take a closer look at it and say, oh, what is this all? How is it actually 100%?
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah.
100% angry right now, or am I 5% sad too?
It doesn't matter how fast you're going as long as you're going in the right direction.
That too. Exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Tony. And we'll see you next time. See
See
you. Bye.
ya.